1000%. This is an Angela Oakley Stan account. Angela, let me tell you something, baby. Let me tell you something about Angela the Oakley. Walk in, teeth shining, nose sharp, glasses on, hair sweating, fan adjusted, ready to take down the world. I love Angela, and y'all can't tell me nothing about her. You cannot, do not come over to this page telling me nothing about Angela the Oakley. Okay? Now that we have that little tidbit out of the way, and so y'all know where I stand while I'm here, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? I'm Guna Corner. Welcome back to my channel. You already know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. All right? Love that for you and me. Let's get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 6, titled, y'all know. I don't know the name of the title. I never know the names of the titles. We know what we're talking about when we get here, though. I know you that much. The episode starts off with a montage of all of the ladies talking about how they feel after seeing Kenya's departure and the things that led to her departure. Everybody is like, oh my God, my stomach hurt. It was so low. I've never seen nothing like it. It's just too far. Y'all wasn't saying that when that lady was out there grabbing pistols and whips and doing all of the most. Now, hear me out. I do understand that there is a difference between Kenya actually pulling the trigger and the lady talking about pistols and whips. However, don't bring no guns to a knife fight if you're not ready to shoot, baby. Because if I pull out a bazooka on your ass, that's just you. You know? So they get through that or whatever. Then we head to Brit's house. Her and Mimosa are sitting there. She's scrolling on her phone. Mike begrudgingly walks in the living room and asks her what she's doing. She shows him her phone. Whatever's on there, I'm sure is something talking about her, which, if you ask me, she loves all of this attention. I don't think this is the kind of attention that she wanted, but everybody's talking about her, so she lives. She is telling him about the experience or whatever. And what I will say, some of the only words that he did say in this episode was, he made a very valid point about this salon was supposed to be dedicated to her daughter, and she pulls a stunt like that. It was tacky, it was nasty, it was gross, it was unbecoming of a grandmother, So Kenya, tisk, tisk, we don't like that. However, Brit, I'll call that man Brandon in real life, so I'm just calling him Brandon. Brit and Brandon, their energy is peculiar. Your wife is sobbing. She is breaking down. She is breaking down. Her teeth are literally falling over her bottom lip. And she is expressing to you how just distraught she is over this picture of her rocking the mic floating around the internet. Now, the pictures never floated around the internet, so the team did a great job at not getting any of that footage out there. However, she's expressing herself and her emotions, and Mike basically farted and was like, damn, bitch, that's crazy. That man don't give a fuck about her. Their chemistry is weird. I've been saying that since the very first time that we saw him, that there just seems to be a lack of love there. Or dare I say even like it seems like he was like, okay, I got a pretty girl on my side, I'll marry her, I'll give her a baby, and, I will belch and go to work, and then that will be it, But there is a lack of romance, there's a lack of chemistry, there's a lack of just from the TV screen, there is nothing emanating off of them that is saying to me that there is love there. It almost feels like Robin and Juan. And at least Juan put 3 babies in Robin, or 2, I don't know. But Brandon don't like you, sister. And you keep talking about, I got a ring, I got a rock, I got a man. How that nigga left you for dead? Like, he don't even like you, girl. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too proud about that. However, anyway, Kelli shows up. First of all, Kelli, I feel like I'm going to say this every episode, but her beauty increases every single time just she's on my camera. Like, she always looks so good. That dress she had on with the little side cut out, I said, yes, Kelli. Yes, Kelli. This is also a Kelli, what's her last name? I don't know. This is also a Kelli stan account, but not as much as we are standing Angela the Oakley today, okay? So, Kelli comes over, she brings an IV specialist, and if you notice, the IV specialist had to rock her gold hoops on. She was like, yeah, because I ain't letting you bitches stunt on me today. I ain't got the degree. I ain't got the money. You girls will not try me on this day. And so she hooked them up to the machine or whatever. They're going back and forth about the Kenya situation. Brit is crying. Well, Brit was crying before. And let me just tell you something now, Brit. You get 1 week worth of tears from me. Okay? You cry with Mike. You cry with your mama. You're crying all over the place. You're crying in your confessionals. I don't care. Okay? You should have been talking about pistols and whips, and we wouldn't have been in this situation. And that is what you failed to realize. However, Angela the Oakley made sure you did. But yeah, so I'm not about to be doing too much more of the tears. I may give you 1 more week. If you are crying after next week, we will no longer be discussing this. Okay? I'm over it. Was there anything interesting that happened at the IV situation besides Kelli looking gorgeous? No. And I would just be jumping all around talking about what I want to talk about. I'm sure you watched the episode, but not everything was like spectacular to me. So like, you know, whatever. So then we head on to this scene where it's Shamea, Drew, and Angela, they meet up and go to the studio. What I really love about this scene is Shamea is really taking us into the workings of the music. So by the time we get to the end of the season, and I'm sure her album will come out then, we have invested so many weeks in seeing the process of her making this album that we will all be interested. And I love the first song. The second song that they introduced this episode also sounds good. So can't wait to hear whatever she got coming or whatever. But Angela, we stand Angela. However, the people that we stand, we are not afraid to say that they are messy and they live for drama. Angela, you are messy in the best way possible. The way that she is able to push story forward is so slick that it almost feels like it's a hug, you know, like she wraps you into the mess, and she makes you feel comfortable by talking shit about your best friend. And it's just like, this lady is great. Okay, Angela, I forgot even how she did it because it was so damn good, but she basically brings up the fact that Porsha was talking over Shamea when she was introducing her song, when she was playing her song for everybody. Then Shamea gets into how she felt disappointed by Porsha because she's always been Porsha's biggest cheerleader. And we have seen Shamea be very supportive of Porsha. And the problem is that I feel like at that dinner scene, Porsha started to realize that this show is not about me. These are all of Shamea's friends. Shamea is pushing her music. Oh shit, she got more of a storyline than I do. I'm about to be on the back burner. That's when it clicked for her. So the only thing that she knew to do then to get a moment was to make it seem like she didn't know that it was her best friend singing the song. Nuts. So Shamea, she goes on and on about how she was disappointed in Porsha, and Porsha, you need to do better, friend. I don't need to say this because I feel like I say it every episode. I've never been the biggest Porsha fan. However, there are things about Porsha that I do enjoy, but one of them, Porsha is just not a great friend to nobody. She's never been a great friend to anybody on this show. It's always been self-serving. Candy, for instance, Candy done put the girl in her play. I believe she may have helped her out with some music. I can't remember, but and then turn around and conspire with Phaedra to bring up all of this shit about Candy, wanting to drug and rape her. So, Porsha just Portia's a trip. But anyway, Drew comes along and then she says something to the fact of, my music is going to help pay for Pilar's college. Drew, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. Now, I haven't heard Drew's album yet. It's on my to-do list. A lot of people have said it's good. So I will check it out. I have listened to other Housewives music, so I don't have any issue with listening to Drew's. I get around to it. But I've heard it's good. So, and everybody on the cast says that it's good. So, I will check it out. But let's be very clear. Music really ain't even paying the way that it used to, babe. So I doubt that the $73.46 that you will get from streaming will do anything for Pilar besides buy snacks. So, anyway, from there, where are we at now? We go to a scene. Did Angela have any solo scenes this episode? I can't remember. However, we get to this episode where Porsha and Shamea meet up to golf or whatever. Shamea lets us know that she doesn't feel like it's the appropriate time to bring to Porsha to bring it up to Porsha that she didn't really appreciate how she was talking over her playing her song. And I kind of feel like, well, when is the right time? But I do think it's fair. Like, we having a moment right now. We don't get to have them often. So, let's just have a good time. And I think her pacing that out really builds the anticipation for the moment where they finally do sit down and talk about the way that she's feeling. What else is going on? Because I want to make sure that I get to all the bits and pieces before we... Kelli and her daughter. Now, to all the wigologists out there, please somebody let me know if that was Kelli's real hair or not, because I have never seen a more flawless ponytail unit in my life. If that is not her hair, they did that, and she needs to make sure that lady is booked. Whoever did her hair, that lady, that man, that them, make sure that person is booked for the end of time, because that was a flawless ponytail. Because that shit looked, the hair was so flat. I'm like, there's no way that this is not her hair. And I'm usually very good at spotting a wig. Either way, we get into the conversation where Chloe, who is Kelli's daughter, tells her that, there's articles showing up about her stepfather. And I think this is the episode where I learned that he is her stepfather, not her biological father. But he's been around since she was 2. So she is feeling discarded right now because she feels like, he won't talk to her, and he's kind of alienated her throughout Kelli and his divorce. And that has to suck. But I hated to hear, first of all, it was shady as hell to be like, well, bitch, I don't know if I want to get married because I don't want to end up like you, divorced and looking crazy. But I hated to hear that what she is taking from this situation is all the turmoil and all of the things that Kelli has been through with her husband, and not looking at the bright side of marriage and partnership. So, she's young, and I'm sure she'll grow out of it, but what I would like to see is Kelli taking her girls to therapy. So we're making sure that we're ironing those kinks out now. And sorry, y'all, I'm sick, so I sound like Squidward right now. So I'm trying to get it all out. But yes. What else happened in that scene? That was it. So let's move on. Where are we at? Okay. So from there, I'm going to jump over to when we're at Shamea's house, and Porsha, Angela, and Drew are all sitting around, and they start to talk about divorce. Again, Angela is so good at maneuvering the scene, pushing conversation, and making the shit spark. That lady heard Drew talking about her little sob story, and we was like, oh, okay, we've heard enough about your marriage. Porsha, do you feel like you're getting enough support in your divorce? It is such a smart way of making sure that we are hitting all of our marks here, because Porsha, this is the first episode that we've gotten a taste of what Porsha is dealing with in her marriage. And I'm going to just go ahead and say this, and y'all can feel however you want to feel about it. Porsha's return, I'm not really feeling the impact. It isn't hitting the way that the girls were saying that it was going to hit. And it just feels like we're getting a bunch of nothing. Her arguing with Drew about nothing. Her giving us like this glossy version of their divorce. We want to know why you are getting divorced. We want to know what actually led to the divorce. What did you find? How did you stop feeling safe? What did he do to make you feel this way? However, what I do appreciate about what she gave us in this scene is she is letting us know the aftershock of what's going on. So now her daughter is starting to catch on and be like, where is Simon? And Porsha said that little girl was calling Simon Papa. Porsha and Simon were married all of 72 hours, and she already had her daughter calling that man Papa. That's weird. I don't think that Pilar could have been older than maybe 3 or 4 when he came around. I just don't think that it's cool to have your kid calling somebody that you married after 3 months of knowing them. I don't think that it's cool to have them calling them Papa. But hell, I'm not no parent. I can't tell that lady what to do. I just think it's irresponsible. I will say that. I do think it's irresponsible because now the shit done fizzled out after maybe 2 years, and now your daughter has to also divorce from this man, and divorce herself from calling him Papa. Like that, I don't know, man. That shit is weird. That it's not cool. And if you really think about it, like it just also feels like, because it seems like what Portia's been doing for a minute is like using Pilar as a pawn to get to Dennis. And her having her daughter calling another man Papa, like some variation of dad, to me feels like another way to get at Dennis. And I just don't know what that's about. But either way, she says that Pilar came up to her and asked her where's Simon, and Porsha was like, he's just away, he'll be back, I'll let you know when he gets back. And then she texts Simon, and Simon is like, he read the message, he was like, girl, fuck them kids. That's not funny. That is not funny. That is not okay. But good Lord, Simon is crazy. And the fact that 800,000 of you are following him on Instagram, what is wrong with y'all? Unfollow him. Y'all are really boosting this man's head up and giving him everything that it is that he wanted out of Porsha. Like, if you like Porsha at all, unfollow him. Watch his stories if you need to. Look at his grid if you need to. But following the man just really amplifies the way that he feels, because he's getting all of the attention that he wants. Just stop. Have some couth. Okay, what else before I get into what I actually want to talk about? Nothing. So we head on down to Kelli's house. Kelli planned a brunch for Brit because she feels like I don't know how she feels. However, she planned a brunch for Brit to support her. All of the ladies arrive and they sit down, and Shamea's like, Brit even told me yesterday that she lost her license because of what Kenya did. Angela turns and was like, for what? Now, two people who have been licensed for anything. I had a security license at one point. I will be a licensed marriage and family therapist in the near future. There has to be probable cause for you to lose a license. Somebody pulling up pictures of you is not enough for an insurance agent to lose their license. It's not. They can do an investigation, they can do all of this and all of that, but there is no way that they can pull up, there's no way that a rumor is going to get your license revoked. I read somewhere on Twitter that her license had already been suspended since 2022, so she was no longer a practicing insurance agent. So, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm giving it to you because it was given to me. Okay. So Brit is like, well, do you not see what's going on? She instantly barks at Angela. Angela's like, wait, hold on. Calm all that shit down, baby, because I'm just asking you a question. And it was a very simple question to answer. Like, what's the cause? And you let us know why. Like, you think we're just supposed to believe anything you say because you're now Miss Victim? No, babe. Sorry. It don't work like that, Pistol Pete. You have to... Every action has a reaction, okay? There's a cause, there is an effect. It just so happens that your effect was a lot larger than you thought it would be. You threw some sand on the beach, to whereas Kenya threw a tsunami at you. And it's fine, it's not fine, but whatever. So they're getting into it, they're going back and forth or whatever. And what I really hated about this scene was that, first of all, the girl gets way too hyped too quick. And then she starts putting hands in faces. Now, to me, if you ask me, that is very antagonistic. You putting your hands in my face, talking about my hands are right here, because Angela clocked your ass. She said, you throw rocks and then you hide your hands, because Kenya's not here because she just woke up one day, farted, and was like, I'm about to expose this girl. No, you threatened her with pistols and whips, and then she whipped out pictures of you and exposed them to everybody. That is how we got here, and that is why Kenya is no longer here. And what Angela was trying to get you to do was to take responsibility for your part in it and not just come over here and try to be a victim all of a sudden. No, you started this. You antagonized this situation, and you got a reaction that you was not expecting. Clocked your ass, okay? And then now, because somebody is clocking you about it, you are all of a sudden just so offended. Save it. Spare me with all the bullshit. So then they switch seats or whatever, and then Shamea was like, you know what? So I'll ask the question. Live for that, because Shamea was like, no, well, we ain't done with this right here. You got a little too hyped for no reason, so now I know that we need to dig a little deeper. So Shamea's like, well, how did you come about losing your license? So she was like, and I don't know why her reaction to Shamea was a lot less severe than it was to Angela, but she was like, well, there is an investigation, and the investigation could make me lose my license, something like that. And Angela was like, I thought so. She was like, oh, what did you say, Angela? With her teeth all over her fucking bottom lip. What did you say, Angela? It's like, girl, calm down. Take it down a notch. And then the girl, for the second time this season, used two of Kenya's catchphrases. Not only did you say you can twirl out of here, then she said, yes, so nasty. And I feel like she caught herself from saying so rude. But if you heard it, she was about to say so nasty and so rude. And Kenya, and the reason why Kenya's no longer here is because of the nastiness that she said. And I love how she jumps back and forth between gangsta and then I'm just a girl. She go from read the motherfucking room, to read the room, read the room, read the room. Like, she coming on here being somebody that she is not, and it's irritating me because it is giving me a lot of Mia Thornton vibes, and I just want her to just be herself. Because if you are the gun-toting Pistol Pete, I need you to be him. If you are just a girl, I need you to just be her. But if you can't just be both, okay? Be you. Anyway, so they wrapped that conversation up or whatever, and then and then Shamea was like, you know what? Let's go and get up and dance. And what I love about that scene is that that is such a black ass thing to do. Get up an electric slide to bring the unity back in the vibe of peacefulness or whatever they was trying to put out to the world. So that was my thoughts on this episode, y'all. Sorry if it's 26 minutes. I don't think I rushed it, but I can barely speak. I can barely breathe. So I'm trying to just get it all out. But that was my episode. That was my review of this week's episode. Please come back next week, and I will see you later. Toodles. Never forget.